It takes a tremendous amount of thrust to lift the space shuttle off its launch pad. Have you ever wondered what's in the fuel that propels the shuttle into outer space? Well, the answer to that question is aluminum. Aluminum powder, derived from alumina, the starting stock for molten aluminum, is a key element in powering the shuttle into orbit. Those conditions, fuel, oxygen, and an ignition source, are right at the moment of liftoff of the space shuttle. Unfortunately, those conditions can also be right here at Warrick Operations. Even with this potential for an explosion, aluminum powders and fines can be shipped, stored, and used safely. This training program will discuss the hazards associated with handling aluminum fines and the procedures necessary to minimize the hazards. In offline melting areas, the scalper dust are naturally produced by the release of tiny pieces of aluminum called fines. The dust, if in high enough concentration, has the potential to explode. All it takes is ignition. Alcoa has in place equipment and procedures that greatly reduce the chance of a dust explosion. We've eliminated ignition sources in and around our processes that produce aluminum fines. However, with the furnaces and other equipment we have in our offline area, completely eliminating ignition sources is impossible. That's why it's so important that we prevent dust clouds. As we mentioned, the metal dust we have to worry about most is aluminum fines. Aluminum fines are present in the scalper chips and the slitter chips returned to ingot from fabricating. The Warrick scalper and FISC systems finishing to ingot scrap conveyor are the only Alcoa systems within Alcoa where aluminum chips are pneumatically conveyed over long distances and then stored in silos. The hot mill scalpers trim between 1/4 and 3/4 inch off the top and bottom of each ingot. This trim breaks into small pieces and is blown from the scalpers to the ingot silos. Slitter chips are generated in finishing and conveyed across the plant and into the silos. As the scalps and slitter chips travel through the conveyors, aluminum fines are generated. Also, the conveying equipment that moves this scrap from the silos to our melting furnaces tend to make finer particles out of larger pieces. You must always keep in mind that the fines in the offline area have the potential to explode. You also need to know that we have designed into our equipment systems safety features appropriate for hazardous dust environments. All equipment at the offline and storage silos was designed in accordance with Alcoa Engineering Standard 18.4.2. Ductwork is specially designed to minimize dust accumulations. All electrical equipment was specified for electrical explosion hazards. So, it's clear that employees have a role to play in helping to prevent explosions. Here's what you can do to help prevent an explosion. The single most important contribution you can make to preventing an explosion is be sure you don't make a cloud of dust in the air. Research has proven that more often than not, a dust cloud will have the right chemical elements to be explosive. Any accumulation of fines of 1/16 of an inch or more provides enough fuel for an explosion if it were to become airborne. So excellent housekeeping is absolutely imperative. Regular removal of all accumulation of fines will remove one of the 3 ingredients needed for an explosion. You must always follow the approved procedures and practices in the SJPs for the work you are performing. Avoid any conditions that will suspend particles in the air, creating a dust cloud. For this reason, compressed air should not be used for cleanup inside the silos or anywhere in the offline area. Any dust cloud generated should be kept to a minimum. Avoid actions that generate static electricity, create a spark, or otherwise result in reaching the ignition energy or temperature. All electrical equipment must meet national electrical codes for hazardous installations. Use only non-sparking conductive tools. No smoking, open flames, fires, or sparks should be allowed in storage areas. Sweeping should be done with natural bristle brushes and brooms. These natural bristle brushes and brooms are identifiable by their green handles. Once again, vacuums should never be used at the off lines. Sparks produced by the vacuum could provide an ignition source. When engaged in any maintenance activities in the area, be sure you strictly comply with pre-job safety reviews, special work permits, and any other instructions. Remember, cleaning, burning, welding, or any other work activities that have the potential to bring together the 3 explosion ingredients must be done according to special procedures and practices. Where generation of static electricity may occur, utilize every means to minimize it. Bonding and grounding machinery to remove static electricity is vital. Be sure dust collection equipment are maintained in tip-top shape. This equipment must work safely and efficiently. The ingot plant has 4 N-type rotoclones which pull the fines from the material streams. A cyclone in each upper silo room separates the fines from the incoming scrap. The ductwork carries these fines to the number 1 and number 2 rotoclones. The fines are removed by the rotoclones after being suspended in water. Proper operation of the rotoclone is extremely important in controlling the accumulation of fines. Finally, when new offline equipment is installed or existing equipment is changed, make sure the design and operational guidelines according to the Alcoa engineering standard are followed. And one more thing. If, in the event of an aluminum dust fire occurs, you must vacate the area immediately and then sound the fire alarm. Do not attempt to fight an aluminum dust fire. Remember, it's an explosive situation. The Warrick Offline Melting Complex produces approximately 18 million pounds a month of molten metal to the world's largest ingot plant. It provides the most efficient means of melting scalper and slitter chips in the Alcoa system. If the practices and procedures in this training video are followed, the hazards associated with aluminum fines will be greatly reduced.